Hello, gamers. Today I'm going to speak about the controversy behind Hogwarts Legacy and why and what I've decided that I want to do regarding this game on my channel. I've decided to start a full playthrough of this incredible role-playing game, and I've already got my first hour of gameplay and my reactions to this beautiful fantasy world that's been so lovingly crafted by Avalanche software ready to go. They were also responsible for the incredibly underrated Mad Max video game that launched, I believe, in 2016, around the same time as Mad Max Fury Road, the movie. Although it wasn't a movie tie-in, it adapted all of the Mad Max franchise in an incredible way. So definitely check it out. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this game about the author of the Harry Potter books, who continues to receive royalties from the theme parks, the books, the movies, the games, and collaborations with Warner Brothers, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Lego, to name a few. This game has sold incredibly well, being at the very top of Steam's purchases and pre-orders. Not only holding the #1 spot, but also holding another spot because it has two editions of the game, a deluxe edition and a regular edition. With the Dead Space remake also holding two spots in the top 10 for its incredibly well done editions of the game as well. This is also in competition with free-to-play games such as Apex Legends and Destiny 2 that always hold a spot in the top 10 games played and purchased on Steam. So for context, this shows that a lot of people are buying this game and a lot of money is being spent. Not just on ad campaigns, but also by players in order to play said games. The game has also broken a 1.2 million viewer record for a single-player game on Twitch.tv for the category of Hogwarts Legacy, which means a lot of people are watching this game, regardless of whether they own it, bought it, want to buy it, are thinking about buying it, whatever it may be. This is where it shows that any chance that Twitter tried to mobilize a boycott was futile. You would need a multi-million-dollar ad campaign to compete with Hogwarts Legacy literally being on the screensaver of your Amazon Fire TV, of it being on the dashboard of your PlayStation, your Xbox, ad campaigns all over the TV, thanks to Warner Brothers, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, everyone. You would have to raise an insane amount of money simply to get out the awareness, because not everybody's on Twitter, in order to mobilize some sort of boycott. So, it shows that a boycott is rather futile and useless. But that doesn't mean that something can't be done. It's also interesting to note that people on Twitter are not only mobilizing to boycott the game, but that there's not really any news coverage of protests at the parks, or maybe the occasional book in the trash, or being burned, or reselling of memorabilia. Which none of that really has a big impact against JK and her wild and inappropriate beliefs that she spends her money funding. Buying a video game, or any media, is not a direct agreement in the beliefs of the creator, the publisher, the author, the founder, whatever it may be, nor does it directly fund or harm any community. Most people buying this game are fans of the franchise, of video games, of RPGs, of fantasy worlds. I'm seeing people that I went to high school, college, people I met through content creation play this game, and I know for a fact that none of them are transphobes or mobilizing any sort of hatred or in agreement with anything related to what JK believes. I think the cast of Harry Potter said it best in the HBO Max reunion that essentially the world of Harry Potter is something the people of the world found shelter and entertainment in, and has grown bigger than its hateful creator. This game was created without her involvement or input, and even features a trans character in-game, as well as the ability to create your own character, and if you choose to make them trans, you very well can. I imagine this probably infuriates JK, that her property is being taken in this direction that she directly does not endorse, and in fact probably hates. It's probably infuriating her, and honestly, I think we should all see it as an absolute win. At the end of the day, I see a really good and immersive video game that's giving gamers what they've always wanted since they read the books, watched the movies, and played some of the games, like the PS1 version of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that I had. They did their best at the time to attempt at exploring the wizarding world of Hogwarts at the time. I've spoken and listened to several friends, journalists, and content creators on this issue, and some of them have chose to cover the game, others have chosen not to. And of the ones that are covering the game and are playing it, have said that it can indeed be separated from the actual hatred against other people, the trans community in particular. I noticed they were not bullied into not covering a game they found to be enjoyable and of good quality. Whether or not they were a pre-existing fan of Harry Potter, the boiling of the online community and Twitter and hate raids and all these various things wasn't stopping them from doing this. So why is it stopping me? Well, I'm not a hateful person. I'm not a bad person. I'm not somebody that agrees with any sort of anti-trans rhetoric. I just play games, partially for a living. I realized that I was allowing myself to be bullied. And as I was recording my first hour of gameplay, just in case I ever wanted to publish it, I realized I was hiding in fear, playing the game in the dark with all the lights down, hitting the record button on OBS, and exploring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, all just in case I changed my mind and wanted to publish said video. I realized I was hiding in fear, I was being bullied, the same way I was as a child, when I was called gay, Faggot, all the time growing up and in school. Other hateful slurs I was called as I was beaten and bullied just for being different, being the loner. Even the school counselors would blame me for being bullied. They would say, well, what were you wearing? Or were you behaving in a different way? I'm like, I'm wearing polos. I'm wearing collared t-shirts. I'm wearing, video game t-shirts. I'm wearing just regular clothes that everyday people wear. I didn't talk with some weird lisp. I wasn't some ambiguously person that was attracted to other people or anything. I'm just kind of a regular guy that, I liked girls, but because I didn't have a girlfriend and all my friends were guys, they thought I was gay. But actually, I just had a really good best friend, and that was awesome. And I guess maybe people hated that I had a really good friendship, even though we were both bullied for the same reasons. And so, yeah, the funny part is that I was bullied for this stuff, even though I wasn't gay, and nobody ever came to my defense. Nobody ever came to help me. I only see the controversy around this game becoming more hateful and disturbing. I see a website that was set up to track people to either unfollow, shame, hate raid, or threaten people for playing a video game. Now, of course, I've read online that this website has since been taken down because of its harassment, and I think that speaks volumes for a multitude of reasons. What happens when this technology is used against you all of a sudden? You're laughing and you're cheering because right now it's being used against people that you claim are transphobes, but some of them are just everyday people like you and me that just happen to like Harry Potter. What happens when the technology is used against you? You cheer for it now. But what happens when it's used to discriminate people by race, religion, sexual preferences, political views, etc.? Where do you draw the line? You boycott the game, this game, but not the parks, not WB, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Lego. Where's your boycotts of those? All who have contracts with Harry Potter's world, why draw the line at one game? You boycott WB? Why not all of WB? Why not HBO Max? Why not Discovery? Why not Bugs Bunny? Why not Superman? How about Batman? How about you just discriminate all of the things that they own? If you want to send a real message, why not mobilize a massive boycott and protest and hit them in the wallet? Because it's not working with this game. You'd have to do a lot more. Partially because it's impossible and not feasible. Why not place someone opposing JK and her money she throws at anti-trans rhetoric in the UK? Elect someone that won't allow her to have any impact there or anywhere in the world. Why? It's harder than just tweeting Harry Potter game bad. It's easier to tweet in your PJs and think you're changing the world than to run for office. Get people to get out there and vote. State your policies. Win the hearts and minds of the people. Just the way women's suffrage and the African American community and many more have had to fight for change in this country and in this world, it is unfortunately the case here as well. It takes a lot to get this stuff done, and it's not easy. And you can't do it from your armchair, and it can't all be done from just tweeting or getting mad at the very people that you should be convincing to be on your side. And you don't convince people by forcing them. For example, one of my friends is not a Superman fan. So if I said, get the hell away from me, I'm not your friend, you don't belong in this community, don't watch my videos, don't play games with me because you don't like Superman. It's not going to get him to change his mind if I tell him that he's wrong and that he doesn't belong. That's only going to make him either oppose me further or just not really care and move along. So rather than taking actual action to support the trans community through charity, activism, protest, lawmaking, running for office, and approaching others with love and understanding, this movement has chosen to hate and cast out people that are not their enemy, people that are allies or neutral or indifferent to their way of life, but offer no hate. None of these should be considered enemies. My Catholic upbringing teaches me to love one another as Jesus would, not to persecute others. And I have to assume that it also means people who I may not understand or agree with. We know that Jesus loved people. He loved people no matter what they were, what they did. All sins can be forgiven. He loved people no matter what they did, even the people that sentenced him to death. He said, forgive them, right? A very strong and powerful thing to do that I don't think a lot of us, myself included, would be capable of forgiving someone that would sentence me to death or someone that hated me. It would be really hard to forgive the people that are so full of hatred and so evil to you. I have no love for people who hate, and just because I don't understand or maybe agree with everything that the LGBT community may do, doesn't mean that I'm an enemy. It just means I'm different. So it's unfair to lump the very people that don't mean you harm with those that do mean you harm. Actual physical harm, or through laws that they are passing, states, countries, all over the world, over a video game. It sets a dangerous precedent for the future. Where will it end? Is it just this game? Is it another movie? Is it games? Is it entire companies? Is it how far does it go? What allies will you have left when you cast out everyone that doesn't agree with you 100% of the time? What kind of cult are you forming that has to agree with you all the time, even if they don't identify with you? I'm a half Palestinian Catholic man. If I cast out everyone that eats and buys hummus that's made from an Israeli company that supports the Zionist movement to erase Palestinians and Palestinians from the earth, a true genocide, rather than, buy the real hummus from Palestinians and, maybe the Egyptians and the Lebanese and other cultures that know exactly how to do hummus. I'd likely have little friends and no allies if I labeled everyone who isn't for the freedom of my Palestinian people as my enemy. I would have no allies, no friends, and no one neutral around me. If I treated every friend of mine that just happens to be Jewish as an enemy, I wouldn't have any friends. And it also wouldn't help my case. If if we couldn't find some sort of neutral solution to the situation and the endless war that's over there and the persecution of my people. If I labeled everyone that way, I would have nothing. Now, that doesn't make me an anti-Semite because I'm Palestinian. I am who I am. I'm not a Nazi because I bought a Volkswagen vehicle a few years ago. Now, we do know that Volkswagen was a company that notoriously built tanks for the Nazis in World War II. But me, over 100 years later, purchasing a car from a German company that has clearly renounced what they did in the war does not make me a Nazi. Let's apply this to more things. So why would buying a game label me as some sort of hateful transphobe when everything I've done in my life, from being an Eagle Scout, a leader, a musician, a content creator, a photographer, a good Catholic man, someone who knows what it's like to be bullied, betrayed, hurt, but still learn to love others, to put good out into the world when others choose hate. I will not be labeled as something that I'm definitively not. And that's why I think this boycott, which, as I said before, has no real impact and is useless and only serves to do one thing, and that is divide us all, so that the real transphobes, the real enemy, can continue to pass legislation harming trans people and further hurt that community when the people opposing them will be divided. So let's talk impact. Enough negativity. I'm putting all funds raised from the Hogwarts Legacy videos that I'll be creating on the channel, primarily playthrough videos of the entire game from my character's point of view, toward the Trevor Project, which advocates against anti-LGBTQ laws and works with policymakers to pass legislation to protect LGBTQ youth. Connects LGBTQ, pardon me if I stumble, it's a lot of letters, peers through Trevor Space, their safe space social networking site, and conducts original research to capture the unique experiences of LGBTQ young people. So, once again, the Trevor Project, as much research as I've done, and as much as I've admired others that have been doing charity streams and all sorts of charitable works, have always recommended this one, and so I've chosen that one as my best choice to not offset the harm I'm doing by buying the game, but to actually do something good and meaningful. And let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's actually do something instead of just armchair tweeting about how people are bad for buying a game. A simple $70, $80 purchase, which, you know, at the end of the day is added up to a lot. But guess what? JK gets a royalty check. The developers of the game are already paid, but they do get bonuses based on how well the game sells, and that's been verified by people that do work for Avalanche. So, at the end of the day, not buying the game is really hurting the devs more than anyone, because JK is already floating. She's already got enough money to do whatever legislation she wants for the rest of her life. It's going to be really hard to drain her bank account. So what I want to do, as a partnered YouTube channel, I can check analytics of my ad revenue, of memberships, of super chats, etc. for all of my videos that are related to Hogwarts Legacy, and tally up the revenue and send it right over to the Trevor Project with receipts that I will be sharing via screenshots in Discord and the YouTube community tab. The donate button that you do see below certain partnered YouTube channels is only earned when you have 10K subscribers, and I'm kind of right now only just past 1K, so I don't want to wait to do any charitable works around this game until I hit 10K. I want to do some stuff now, and you can trust me. So, and if you don't, then fine, move it along. But I will be showing receipts, and I believe that's the most ethical way that I can make sure that the revenue from this is donated directly to a place that can actually do some good with it. So I'll share that in the Discord and in the YouTube community tab. If you prefer to donate yourself, please do. Cut out the middleman, you know? You can let me know in chat or in the comments if you wish to share the goodwill you're spreading. If you want to keep it personally and to yourself, that's perfectly fine as well. That's usually how I handle most of my donations, whether it's to the American Red Cross or the American Cancer Society, to the church, all sorts of stuff I've done over the years, to the Boy Scouts, that I used to be in. You, of course, don't have to do anything if you don't want to. Liking the video, watching the video, commenting, being in chat rounds up ad revenue that I will send to this charity without you having to spend a dime. Just hanging out and being a part, having fun, watching the game, chatting with me, having a good time here. Really all you have to do. So, let's be a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem. Let's unite around a fun experience and do good for others. Whether we agree with them or not, doesn't matter. We can still do good. Let's unite around a fun experience and do good for others, once again, whether we agree with them or not. I don't see anybody online or on Twitter coming up with solutions, just spreading hate and threatening people not to play a game. All of a sudden, the persecuted are becoming just as evil as the people they claim to battle against. There's no ethical hate raids or review bombing. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. I mean, we buy iPhones from a company that has kids make them in China. Twitter is run by a known transphobe, and you're using that platform to mobilize your boycott of Hogwarts Legacy. It makes you a rather quite a big hypocrite. And even if you're not paying for Twitter, you're not a Twitter Blue user, just using the site, once again, contributes to ad revenue, contributes to his fortune that he can use to fund his crazy right-wing policies. So, once again, I don't see anybody coming up with better solutions, just spreading hate. And really, people are becoming the very people that they were battling against. They're spreading hate. They're threatening people. The persecuted, this minority, are becoming just as evil as the transphobes that they are battling against. The hate raids, the review bombing, all of it. In the eyes of an outsider like me, that is relatively a neutral party here, obviously don't like transphobes, but I am not someone who is gay or any part of the LGBT community, but I support them because they're people. They're my friends. And they don't deserve to be mistreated or ignored or hated. So let's do something good instead. Once again, this community, this YouTube community here, is not a place for hatred, racism, homophobia. Any of these isms or phobias are not welcome if it's hurtful to others. If you choose to decide that I'm not an ally to you, that's fine. But I know who I am, and so do the people I know in my life that matter to me. This game was a late Christmas gift to me, and I'm not about to say my family member who gifted it to me is some sort of hateful transphobe when I know that they simply wanted to get me a gift because they know I like video games, RPGs, and fantasy. And as a kid, at every birthday, I was gifted whatever the latest Harry Potter book was. I had it, and I read the first 4 of them, and I guess I've got some catching up to do. I watched the first movie. That was good, but never really ended up watching the rest of them. I was always kind of an armchair fan. My friends were often bigger fans. My family enjoyed it, but I was just sort of, distance, not for any particular reason. I just like Lord of the Rings and Superman and Batman and, Marvel stuff more. So I don't think that necessarily means that even if I bought the game and my friends that certainly bought the game, doesn't make them transphobes either. Doesn't make them hateful and evil people. So you have to understand that you're accusing people of this. Whether it's my friends, whether it's random people on the internet, whether it's my family who wishes nothing but love for me and other people. And also, I was gifted a Gryffindor scarf that was knitted for me this Christmas, which, once again, doesn't make the person that did it for me with love and respect a hateful transphobe. Doesn't make me a hateful transphobe for being warm and comfortable and cozy. And actually, it's pretty freaking dope. And I think it's kind of cool that people kind of walk up and ask, like, "Hey, are you a Gryffindor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, that's what I got on the quiz on the Wizarding World website all those years ago." And I actually took a quiz before I started playing the game. I noticed that they had a Patronus quiz, and I got like the White Stallion. So I got to see what that means. And then I also took a quiz about the wand that they give you. So it's great world building that they've done there. Before you even play the game, you know, you've already created your character and you've immersed yourself in this world. It's pretty good. Pretty good world building. But yeah, that doesn't make these people are not hateful. These people are not trans. You can't, you don't know me. You don't know my family. You don't know my friends. Maybe some of you do. Maybe some of you are my friends. You know who you are. You know who I am. You know how we act, how we behave, who we are in real life, and the causes we actually support. If I was transphobic, you'd know it. If I was racist, you would know it. Whatever. Which, once again, doesn't make anyone here a transphobe. Myself and the people I love will not be labeled as such. We know who we are, and that's on you if you're offended by us. Shouldn't be. I feel bad for you if you think playing one game determines who you are when you have an entire lifetime worth of thoughts, speech, experiences, memories, and actions throughout the 33 years of my life that determine who I am. You think you can define me by the purchase of one game or by playing said game. I wish everyone well. Take care of yourselves, and I hope we find a solution and move past this, gamers. But I think this is the best that I could come up with, and now that I have the game, I actually really enjoy it. You'll see my first video on it immediately after this. I just wanted to make sure that I gave people a chance to understand my approach and understand that I was taking a calm, measured, level-headed approach to this with no harm meant to anybody. In fact, I'm going to try to make something good out of this whole thing and take all money that is generated by this on the YouTube channel and put it towards something good. And if I'm able to also make a charitable donation myself, I'll see if I can do something, whether it's matching the amount of revenue that I put towards it, or just sort of looking at my paycheck and seeing what the best I can do is. So this is an opportunity for all of us for growth and understanding. We should realize that we shouldn't be hating each other for such a simple thing. We should be finding ways that we can unite and things we can agree on and how we can help each other become better in this world. We have enough enemies. We have enough evil in this world. We have enough actual hatred that we shouldn't be manifesting it where it isn't, where there is no hatred. You are creating hatred and doom scrolling in it. It's time to explore the wizarding world of Hogwarts Legacy. This is the last I will speak on this matter, as all my videos and streams will be focused on the content of the game, and not the controversy or any forms of hatred or persecution. If you come in here being a weird transphobe, or if you come in here bullying me not to do this, or come in hating me, you will be ejected immediately. This is just a place to enjoy video games, have a good time, and we're going to try to make something good out of this. We're going to try to put some goodwill back into the world and try to help some people that really need it. Because, you know, people that the Trevor Project helps, these are people that have been abandoned by their families simply for being trans because they're misunderstood by their families. And they grow up and they feel like they're not in the body that they wanted to be in. They're not the gender that they believe they should be or that they identify with. And it's a big decision to make to make changes to said thing. And it's often not something that's very easily reversible, and there can be regrets when that happens. It's dangerous. It's scary. And it seems like the Trevor Project is there to help people and, help people find shelter, help people find adoption, talk people out from committing suicide, because that seems to also be another major trigger of the trans community, of being persecuted, of being ejected from their families, that they start to see suicide as the only option. Real shame. A lot of people have been there, and we shouldn't judge people on their experiences because we don't know everyone's experience. You shouldn't judge me because you don't know everything about me. So you shouldn't assume anything about me. So once again, this video will be the last that I speak on this. There's not going to be, if you're sounding off and want to know more in the comments, this is where I speak my piece. And this is it. I think I've fully said everything I need to say as respectfully as I can, but I've also called out some hypocrisy on Twitter, and I think it needs to be said. It's a load of bullshit. So anyway, I want to thank you. Take care, gamers. Until next time. And thank you for watching.